Let's set up a completely fair race. Meet Julia and Russell. Today is day 1. They are the exact same age, live in the same city, earn the exact same paycheck, and both are starting with an identical $50,000 in the bank. Julia does exactly what responsible people are taught to do. She avoids speculation and places her $50,000 into a standard, secure bank savings account, diligently adding a little more from each paycheck so she can watch it grow. Russell takes a different path. He treats his cash like it's on fire. He puts his $50,000 into index funds and a down payment on a house, signing up for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage that locks him into $300,000 of debt. At a dinner party, the social contrast is sharp. Julia can proudly say she owes nobody anything and her savings are growing. Russell has to admit he owes the bank more money than he's ever seen in his life. Julia is viewed as the responsible adult, while Russell appears to be a guy who is one bad month away from disaster. These two strategies are about to collide with a force that will separate their lives by a wider margin than most people can imagine. One of them is getting richer in their sleep, while the other, despite doing everything right, is losing ground. This shows what is happening to the money itself. Inflation is the process of a currency unit losing its ability to buy things. As the single dollar geometrically divides, more currency fractions are required to match the same physical area of a good. Even if we ignore the chaotic spikes in recent years and look at a conservative, boring baseline, this decay tends to grind away at about 2.5% every single year. This math guarantees that holding cash and standing perfectly still is an active, backward motion. The physical dollars sitting untouched in a vault are steadily losing their utility. Let's jump forward to year 5. On paper, Julia is thriving. She got a standard 3% raise at work, and when she logs into her bank, her balance is bigger than ever. This split-axis line chart shows the gap between what she sees and what she has. The top line, trending upward, is the nominal value, the raw digits on her screen. The bottom line, trending downward, is the real value, her actual buying power. As the block of color fills the gap between these two lines, it quantifies the exact loss. Her savings account pays a fraction of a percent in interest, while inflation drains her dollars by 2.5%. Every year, she is losing ground without spending a dime. Celebrating nominal gains without measuring real purchasing power creates a false sense of security. It functions as a silent tax on cash holders, charging them for the privilege of holding their money. Meanwhile, at year 5, Russell has been doing almost nothing. He isn't day trading or flipping properties. He set his financial positions up on day 1 and mostly left them alone. This bar chart illustrates the mechanics of his position. The static bar represents his frozen $2,000 monthly mortgage payment. The surrounding vertically expanding bars represent the rising costs in the rest of the economy: rent, groceries, and his own salary. Because the mortgage payment is fixed, it becomes cheaper to service in real terms as the years pass. The static bar compresses downward relative to the expanding economy around it, reducing the weight of the debt. This creates a dual advantage. Inflation is eroding the real-world burden of his debt, while simultaneously inflating the price of the house those borrowed dollars bought. By year 10, the compounding effects of these two strategies have entirely separated their lives. These side-by-side area charts measure the 10-year result. From an identical starting point, Julia's $50,000 has decayed to roughly $41,000 in purchasing power. Russell's initial $50,000 has been leveraged into nearly $100,000 in real value. It is important to note that the value Julia lost did not simply vanish into thin air. Inflation is a mechanism for moving capital. The purchasing power leaking from Julia's savings account actively subsidizes the other side of the table. This is the wealth transfer engine, where the saver's loss becomes the debtor's gain. This system points straight to the largest beneficiary on the planet, the government. As the entity holding the largest pile of fixed dollar IOUs, they are the ultimate debtor. Persistent inflation functions as a forgiveness program for national debt. It shrinks the real size of obligations automatically, moving wealth from cash holders to the borrower without the need for new legislation. To see the human cost of this system, we look back at Julia in year 10. After a decade of waiting, she finally decides to purchase the small lake house she has been diligently saving for. She followed every piece of traditional financial advice. But when she checks her balance, she finds that the nominal numbers on her screen can no longer afford the real-world asset. The financial machine operates without malice, but it has a near side and a far side. Survival is a matter of understanding the math and ensuring that you are standing on the correct side of it. Let's look at two people, Julia and Russell, who start at the exact same financial baseline. They both have $50,000 in starting capital and identical salary trajectories over their careers. Julia prioritizes absolute safety. Her strategy is to hold cash, never missing a monthly payment to herself, and watching her balance grow over the decades. Russell takes the opposite approach. He buys a house and takes on a fixed 30-year mortgage debt, a massive liability but looks reckless at a glance. Despite starting from the exact same point, these opposing philosophies set them on paths with entirely different mathematical destinies. 10 years later, Julia checks her accounts. Her nominal bank balance is at an all-time high. Because she has never lost a single dollar, she feels completely secure. This chart reveals the reality of her position. The first bar represents her steady cash savings. The second bar is the price of the lake house she was saving to buy. The property that cost $200,000 when she started has climbed to $340,000. Her careful pile of cash grew slower than the very thing she was trying to purchase. Adding Russell to this same diagram shows the mechanics of his success. This flat line is his fixed mortgage payment. It hasn't moved a single dollar in 10 years. As his income rises, the colored band representing his earnings widens, eventually engulfing that fixed debt. His largest monthly expense has become the cheapest decision he ever made. Economists call this the money illusion. It is a quirk of human wiring that causes us to measure our wealth by the absolute dollar amount we hold, rather than the actual purchasing power of those dollars. Julia's struggle stems from her measuring tool. She is tracking a total that looks healthy, while the purchasing power of each of those dollars quietly erodes. To understand the weight of that erosion, we have to look at the macroeconomic forces acting on the currency, specifically the historical decay of its purchasing power from 1970 to today. In 1970, a brand new car cost a little under $4,000, and a typical new suburban house ran around $24,000. Look around today, and those same items demand an exponentially larger stack of paper currency. You see this math every time you drive past a gas station sign displaying $6 a gallon. This grid represents the total buying power of a single dollar in 1970. If your grandfather had stuffed that dollar under a mattress, it sat idle while the world repriced around it. Today, 88% of these blocks have vanished. That paper dollar only holds about 12 cents of its original power. The mattress protected the number printed on the bill, but it offered no defense for the meaning of the currency. You interact with the micro-scale version of this phenomenon every week at the grocery store through a tactic known as shrinkflation. Companies know you will notice if a price tag jumps, but you rarely notice if the package gets smaller. Instead of raising the price, they shrink the physical volume of a product, like a bag of coffee or a box of cereal. Now let's jump to year 30 of Julia and Russell's timeline. Over a career, the slow drift of inflation becomes a massive financial canyon. This chart compares their final wealth. Julia's totally safe $50,000 shrinks to $24,000 in real purchasing power. Meanwhile, Russell's assets grow to $380,000, 14 times his starting value. Following the standard advice of total debt avoidance and cash saving can lead to a quiet mathematical erosion of wealth. In this 30-year scenario, Julia's safe path resulted in her owning half of what she started with. However, Julia was right about one specific thing: the utility of cash. Because its nominal value doesn't drop overnight, it is the exact tool needed to survive immediate emergencies, like a job loss or a medical bill. If Russell faced that same sudden emergency without a cash reserve, his strategy becomes dangerous. He might be forced to sell his volatile assets during a market crash, instantly locking in a loss. Holding zero cash is reckless. The trap lies in treating idle, excess cash past your emergency fund as a safe investment. The primary defense against this decay is owning pieces of the economy. Index funds allow your wealth to ride the same wave that is driving up prices, and a fixed-rate mortgage allows inflation to eat your debt instead of your savings. For the cautious, government tools like treasury bonds and I-bonds are designed to adjust their yield to match the pace of inflation. Financial survival depends on looking past the nominal numbers on a screen. The real challenge is determining if your holdings are worth more or if you simply have more dollars.